Okay, this is lesson 6, adding, subtracting, and multiplying polynomials. Our goal today is students will add, subtract, and multiply polynomials. We should have done this already in Algebra 1, but we're going to go over it again because we're going to be doing a lot of this basic adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing polynomials all year. Okay? And we do this because in math, what are the 4 basic operations we do? Adding. Okay, you got to know how to do it with everything, with numbers, with polynomials, with radical expressions, all sorts of expressions. You just need to know how to combine, subtract, and multiply and divide. Okay, so if you're on the video, here are the steps: multiply any polynomials together. Then we need to identify all the coefficients and reorganize the terms, because sometimes the problem's messy. So in Algebra 2, we get bigger problems. We have to know how to organize things neatly so that we could get the right answer and have a neat answer. We would 4 distribute any negative signs. Sometimes we have to do that. 5 add or subtract like terms vertically, and 6 simplify your answer in descending order. Okay, so numbers 1 and 2, just watch right now, and then I will let you know how to do it. So number 1, it says 4n to the 4th minus 3 minus 6n plus 1 minus n minus 7n to the 4th. So the first thing I want to do is rewrite this in descending order. Right now I have 4n to the 4th. What I mean by descending order always in this class is take the exponent that's largest. What's the largest exponent in the first expression? It's 4th power. So since that's the largest exponent, I want to write that term first. And it's already first, so that's convenient. Then I ask, what's the next term? It should be n to the 3rd. Are there any n to the 3rds here? No. So then I keep going. N squareds. Are there any n squareds here? No. Are there any n to the 6th? N to the 1st power? Right here, right? Good. So we're going to write minus 6n. Alright? And then we want to know n to the 0 power, which is just a constant, which is minus 3. We're going to bring that down. So that's all I did. The next thing I want to do is check the rest of the problem and see if there are any n to the 4th. So are there any n to the 4ths here? Yeah, there's right here we have to add a negative 7n to the 4th. So we're going to add, put a plus sign, open parenthesis, 7n to the 4th. Okay, because this is an addition problem. And this is a negative 7n to the 4th, so I want to make sure I add a negative 7n to the 4th. You all see that? Okay, because it'll make a difference. Then we ask ourselves, are there any n to the 1st here? Yeah, there's a negative n here, so we're going to add a negative n here. And then, are there any constants here? Yeah, there's a positive 1. Since there's no sign in front of the 1, we assume it's positive. Close parentheses, and we work it out. Notice how I'm working vertically and not sideways, because I want to make sure that I distribute any signs correctly. So now I need to work these out, identifying my coefficients. Positive 4n to the 4th plus negative 7n to the 4th. It's just an integer problem. 4 plus negative 7 is negative 3n to the 4th. Next one, negative 6n plus negative n is negative 7n. Okay, next is negative... Sorry, that 7 doesn't look good to me. Next is negative 3 plus positive 1 is negative 2. Okay. Then I just want to make sure it's still in descending order if I need to simplify, but I don't, so I'm all done. That's your answer. Negative 3n to the 4th minus 7n minus 2. Okay. This is an addition example, but you would do the same thing for subtraction. We would just put the minus sign here. Okay. So again, what did I do? First thing I did is I took the problem, wrote it in descending order, wrote it vertically. Then I combined the coefficients, identifying them, and adding them very carefully as I go, because we're adding and subtracting integers here. And then you get your final answer and box it. Okay, questions on number 1? Okay, number 2. This is a multiply problem now. So this is just like Algebra 1. So we got 5x plus 1 times the quantity of 2x squared minus 4x plus 8. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my first term in my first binomial and distribute it across each of these terms, multiplying each time. So we got 5x times 2x squared is 10, so we go 5 times 2 is 10, x times x squared is x to the 3rd. Okay, then we have 5 times negative 4 is negative 20, x times x is x squared. We got 5 times 8 is 40. And it's positive 40 with an x at the end. Okay, we're done with that. Now we're going to focus on the next term, which is the 1. Thankfully, it's just positive 1 here. So we're going to do the same thing, distributing the positive 1 into the following terms. So we got positive 1 times 2x squared. Super easy. We're just going to copy positive 2x squared minus 4x plus 8, right? Because we're doing multiplying 1 times all of this. We're bringing it down. Now we're going to rewrite this in descending order. What's the largest exponent, I ask myself? X to the third. So I know there's 10x to the third here. And there aren't any other x to the thirds. And I'm going to cross that out so I don't count it again. Then I ask myself the x squareds. Negative 20x squared plus 2x squared is negative 18x squared. Okay, there aren't any other x squared, so I'm going to cross these two out so I don't count these again and I don't forget about them. Then we talk about x to the first. 40x minus 4x is positive 36x. Okay, there aren't any other x to the firsts. Then I ask myself, are there any constants? The only term that's left is plus 8. There aren't any other constants. And then you could see my answer. You see how it's in descending order? X cubed is the biggest, then x squared, then x to the first, and then constants. Y'all see that? You really want to make sure you're organized because we're going to start doing big problems in like the next week or two where we're going to have like long, wide problem. And you've got to make sure it's in descending order, otherwise you will get it wrong, okay? And then, of course, you box your answer. Any questions? All right, that's the lesson for today. So let's have you turn to your neighbor. Let's have twos talk first today. Here we go. Let's work out our math brains. Number 3. Okay, number 3. Working out number 3. The way we work this out is we go descending order. So as we got the first term, or the first expression, we got 7b cubed plus b squared minus 8b, and there aren't any other terms in this first one. On the second one, we're going to have to subtract the second one. So looking for b cubes, we have negative 6b cubed. Then we have plus 4b squared. And then we have plus 2b, right? Because we have to assume that there is a plus sign in front of this 2b, so we're going to put plus 2b. Okay, now we have to work this out very carefully. 7b cubed minus negative 6b cubed. 7 minus a negative 6 is positive 13. b cubed. Raise your hand if you put 1. Okay, careful with that. b squared minus positive 4b squared is negative 3b squared. Right? Yep, that's right. And then we have negative 8b minus positive 2b is negative 10b. Okay. There was a good amount of you that got this right, but there are a good amount of you also that also put made a silly mistake. Raise your hand if you made a silly mistake based upon adding and subtracting. Okay, that's okay. I want you to know when we get up to now that we're in Algebra 2, we need to stop those silly mistakes. You have to be very accurate when you're working precise, okay? Because we're going to get long problems, and wouldn't it suck to do this long problem and miss one little aspect of it? Yeah? So we've got to make sure we are detail-oriented. Anyways, that's number 3. If you made a mistake, please fix it. Let's do number 4. Here we go. Ready, set, go. What should be done on this next one is we need to take a descending order, so we got positive 4m cubed. We're going to write that too. Write that first. 4m cubed minus 4m to the 4th, which is this term here. That's what I copied down. And there's a plus sign here, so we know that it's okay. Okay, so 4m to the 4th. Then we got minus 6m cubed plus 3m. Okay, and there's nothing else here, so I'm going to leave that alone. Then I'm going to go to my next one. Largest term here is negative 8m to the 4th. And then we got negative 3m to the third. And then we don't have any m's, right? So we're just going to leave this section blank. I'm going to put a placeholder. Check this out. This is a trick. A little placeholder here, and then we have a +1. Okay? Did y'all see what I just did there? Raise your hand if you noticed what I just did with that 0M. Did I change anything by adding 0M? Let's say I give you all $0 million. Huh? Huh? Does it change what you have in your pocket? No. Okay. Okay. So, we need to put a plus sign here, and we work it out. Okay, now that everything's in order, and I'm going to put a little placeholder for constants here at the top right, a +0 there, because I know that there's something there. So now we just work it out. 4 plus negative 8m to the 4th is going to be negative 4m to the 4th. Negative 6 plus negative 3 is negative 9m cubed. 3 plus 0 is positive 3m, and then we have 0 plus 1 is positive 1. Okay, and that's it. We box our answer. It's already in descending order because we organized it at the beginning. Raise your hand if you got that correct the first time. Okay, a lot of you did. It's good. Excellent. Raise your hand if you made a small, silly mistake. Okay, raise your hand if you learned something new with a placeholder just now. Okay, that's good. All right, great. Number 5 now. Let's do some multiplying. Continuing on, we have to distribute this 8n across to each of the subsequent terms on the other expression. So we have 8n times 7n squared. 8 times 7 is positive 56. Okay, n times n squared is n cubed. Then we have 8 times negative 7 is negative 56. N times n is n squared. Then we have 8 times negative 5 is negative 30. Oh wait, 8 times negative 5 is negative 40. And we have an n times nothing is just negative 40n. And then that's it. So now we're going to focus on the next term, which is the negative 1. And I like working with 1 because you could just copy the subsequent expression. So, except on this one we have this negative sign we have to worry about. So we're going to distribute this one carefully. We have negative 1 times 7n squared is negative 7n squared. Negative 1 times negative 7n is positive 7n. And then we have negative 1 times negative 5 is positive 5. Okay. We have to combine like terms now. We have positive 56n cubed. Okay, that's good. We have n squared is negative 56n squared minus 7n squared is negative 63n squareds. Cross these out as I go. Negative 40n plus 7n is negative 33n. Cross these out, and then plus 5. That's it. Box your answer. Make sense? Raise your hand if you got that right. I know a lot of you did. At least some of you. I thought more people got it right. Raise your hand if you made a silly mistake on this one. Okay, the silly mistakes will get you, okay? It doesn't mean that you don't know what you're doing. It just means you have to be very careful, all right? What separates an A student from like a C student is really just the detail, how detail-oriented you are. So it doesn't mean you're not smart. It just means you have to slow down, make sure you get every answer right. Okay, number 6, last one, go. When you have a binomial multiplied by another binomial here, and let's say the first term on each one is the same, and the second term is the same except one is positive and one is negative, this is called the difference of squares. So all you got to do is square the first term. What's 7n times 7n, everyone? 49n squared. And then what's 8 times 8? 64. Put a minus sign in the middle. That's it. You're done. That's the shortcut. Raise your hand if you kind of remember that or you remember that from last time. Okay, good. All right, that's it for today. That concludes our lesson. All I'd like you to do is turn off your Doceri apps, clean up any presentations you made.